This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, 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 hello.
Yes,
My dear
sir.
students, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, just I'll start now. Again, revision. The introduction. Just you go to the slides. To the picture of a nephron, where you can find uh, action of various diuretics: site 1, site 2, site 3, and site 4. This is the classification of diuretics. Just I'm revising. Site 1, site 2, site 3, site 4 diuretics. The site 1 diuretics, that is carbonic and nitrogen inhibitors, action, adverse effects, and uses. And as are also we discussed in the earlier last class. And this is a pressure of meta disulfamyl benzenes and the side 2 diuretics, that is they are also called by other name loop diuretics or high saline diuretics. And as are also discussed in the earlier class. And also the third one, that is non-sulfonamide loop diuretics. Example is only one example, second acid. And on this second acid, what are the things you can make? Just discussed in the earlier class. Now we'll go to next, that is side 3 diuretics. There are examples, they are called by other name, that is thiazides or thiazide like diuretics. Okay, and these agents are 1, 2, 4 benzothiazine 1,1 dioxide derivatives. See, like looking at this structure, you see here, this is a benzene ring. It is fused with heterocyclic ring structure, where that second ring containing one sulfur atom and two nitrogen atoms. Therefore, that position 1, 2, 4 indicates the presence of heteroatoms in the fused ring. That is, one sulfur, two nitrogen, and fourth one nitrogen. That's what benzo thiazide. So, to explain the position of these heteroatoms, we are using numbers. One respectively stands for thia, two for diaza. What it is? And 1,1 dioxide means there are two oxygens which are present on the first position of sulfur. Therefore, it is called as 1,1 dioxide. They are also known as by other name, I told you, thiazide and hydrothiazides. That is, why hydrothiazide? That is due to lacking of double bond at position 3 and 4. So that why there will be removal of double bond. Why you have to make it saturation? That will discuss in the SAR. What will happen to its mode of action or duration of action. So under this thiazide diuretics, we'll take examples. One is chlorothiazide, where the R at 6th position separated by chlorine, and R1 there is hydrogen. And another example, second example, benzthiazide, that is chlorine at 6th position, and R1 that is at third position, C6H5 CH2S CH2. Benz is a benzyl group. So there is sulfur methylene. So benzthiazide. Okay. Then coming next, I told you that is thiazide, and another is thiazide like. Means this will be example for hydrothiazide diuretics. This will be example for hydrothiazide. There will be saturation of carbon and nitrogen at third and position, third and fourth position. So under this examples, if you see remaining structure, everything is same. There will be sulfonyl group at 7th position. The previous examples also, see here, no difference. Here also there is sulfonyl group at 7th position. First position there is SO2. In the hydrothiazide, first position there is SO2. In third position SO2 NH2. So we'll take examples of this class. Two examples. One is hydrochlorothiazide. That is because of hydrochloro. This is hydrogenation. That's what is called as hydrochlorothiazide. Where in the example earlier chlorothiazide, where there is a double bond between 3 and 4. Where in this case there is no double bond. Therefore, it is example called hydrochlorothiazide. So R, that is 6% substituted by chlorine atom, and again R1 is hydrogen. No difference. Everything is same, only the position of double bond. It's not there in this case. In the earlier case, there is a double bond. That is a chlorothiazide. This is a hydrochlorothiazide. Then coming next, one more example under this class, that is hydroflumethiazide, where there is chlorine replaced by trifluoromethyl. Hydroflumethiazide. Trifluoromethyl group is being substituted by chlorine. And coming next, there are four examples we have covered. Coming to this mechanism of action, as you saw in the previous slide, I'm coming under side 3 diuretics. Therefore, they are also called by other name thiazide or thiazide-like diuretics. So, mechanism of action, this blocks the reabsorption of sodium. These compounds will block the reabsorption of sodium in the distal convoluted tubules by inhibiting the luminal membrane bound sodium chloride port transport system. See, in the nephron, there will be filtration of sodium and other atoms, other ions. If it is not reabsorbed, then it's going to accumulate. They are going to accumulate and they are going to form edema in the nephron. If it blocks the reabsorption, definitely there will be removal of water molecules to this side. Therefore, these compounds will act by blocking the reabsorption of sodium in the distal convoluted tubules by inhibiting the luminal membrane bound sodium chloride port transport system. And they have, like other compounds, some adverse effects like hypersensitivity reactions, hypokalemia, slight reduction in the cardiac output. These are some of the side effects which have been associated with the side 3 diuretics. Examples, thiazide or thiazide-like diuretics. And common use, extremely useful in the treatment of edema, that is accumulation of fluid, edema, associated with mild to moderate congestive heart failure, not severe heart failure. They are used in treatment of edema associated with mild to moderate congestive heart failure. Other uses include, they may be also used along with other drugs like for the treatment of hypertension, diabetic insipidus. Okay. Any doubts in this case until now? Hello, Aurora. Again. Hello, friends.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Do
sir.
you have any doubt? Do you have any doubts?
No, sir.
No, you're following.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now next we'll continue with the structure activity relationship. Substitutions at position 2 with small alkyl groups such as methyl doesn't change the activity. So there is no change in activity if you substitute by methyl group at second position here. That is imine and NH that is imine. You replace one of the hydrogen by methyl. There is no here, either this case or in the hydrochloride case. Here, second question, if you substitute hydrogen by methyl, no change in activity. It will be as it is only. Then there is no change, there is no point in going for substitution because simply it increases the cost of the production. See, you think of the benefits when there is benefit or increase in potency or duration of action. In that case, you can do this SAR or you can small modification we can do. Like this example, if you replace this NH group by NCS3, so there is no change in activity, then why to go for that change? Okay, so it can be beneficial to the patients as well as beneficial to the industry. So next, second point, substituents at position 3. Substituents at position 3. So there will be drastic some change. It determines the potency and duration of action of the thiazide diuretics. Okay, substitution at position 3 here in this case. See here 1, 2, and 3. This one of the hydrogen on this carbon, if you substitute, so it is going to alter its potency and also its duration of action. So in what way potency? For example, in this case, if you see here, example thiazide. So one of the hydrogen, when there is hydrogen, the chlorothiazide, hydrogen of this replaced by benzyl thio, then it will be benzthiazide. Definitely there will be increase in the potency and also there will be increase in the duration of action. Therefore, in that case, depending on the patient requirement, you can go for considering this point because it is benefit to the patient and also it can be considered. So loss of the carbon-carbon double bond between 3 and 4th position of the thiazide, it increases the potency approximately around range from 3 to 10 folds. See this example here, the loss of double bond between 3rd and 4th position that forms the hydrothiazide. So what is benefit? There will be potentially increases almost from 3 times to 10 times. So then there will be benefit. Therefore, you can think of this point also. It will be benefit to the patient. Next coming point. Next, direct substitution at 4 here on the 4th of this benzthiazide, 4th position or 5th position or 8th position with an alkyl group usually decreases the diuretic activity. Suppose if you make any substitution, on the 4th position, 5th position, and 8th position with alkyl group, right? Any alkyl group, either methyl, ethyl, propyl, isopropyl, butyl, or tertiary if you make any substitution at 4th position, 5th position, and 8th position by alkyl group, there will be decrease in the activity. Okay, so they should be free from alkyl groups. And at 6th position, with an activating group, it is essential for the direct activity, right? So 6th position is necessary. If you are not substituting by activating group, then there will not be any benefit to the patients. So because compound will become inactive. So substitution at the 6th position with an activating group, other activating groups like chloride, bromide, trifluoromethyl, nitro group, etc. Okay. So it is essential for the direct activity. The best substituents include, example I told you, chloride, bromide, trifluoromethyl, and nitro groups. They're all activating groups. For example, replacement of, one example there we can discuss here, replacement of chlorine at 6th position by trifluoromethyl. Replacement of chlorine at 6th position by trifluoromethyl doesn't change any potency because chlorine and trifluoromethyl are both activating groups. Therefore, we cannot change any, cannot find any improvement in its direct activity. But if you replace CH3 group, it reduces the direct activity, right? For example, replace this chlorine group by methyl. If you replace methyl or trifluoromethyl by methyl group, there will be reduction in the dielectric activity. Okay, so chlorine is essential or trifluoromethyl, both are same. They are not change. You can keep chlorine or bromine or trifluoro or nitro. But any of these activating groups replaced by methyl group at 6th position, it reduces the dielectric activity, means it's not preferred. And next point, it is compulsory, that is sulfoamyl group at 7th position is essential for the dielectric activity. Sulfoamyl group at 7th position is essential, means it is a must. If you replace this or if you substitute or any substitution on the nitrogen, if you made, there will be no dielectric activity. That's what I told you. Removal of this group yields the compounds with little or no dielectric activity. So it is essential. Have you understood this, SAR? Hello, students? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Just you have to think of the structure, then we see the possibility of substitution when you make. So what will be there will be, when you are discussing about SAR, you have to think of 3 points. One is substitution, what type of substitutions you are making. Second is you have to consider the potency, and third is the side effects. If there is increase in potency, and also equally if there is increase in the side effect, then it will be benefit to those patients. You cannot think of that. Okay, you have to think of if there is increase in potency, decrease in side effect, then only you think of doing some SAR. Okay, now we'll come to next last, that is site for diuretics. They are also called by other name, potassium sparing diuretics. So a negative feature of all the above discussed classes of diuretics is that they increase the renal excretion rate of potassium and can induce hypokalemia. Okay, these are just negative point with respect to site 1, site 2, and site 3 diuretics. So site 4 diuretics, they are also called by other name, potassium sparing diuretics. So until now, until site 3 discussed, they have the capacity of increasing the renal excretion of rate of potassium. So removal of more potassium, so there will be producing the system. It is called as hypokalemia, right? That is, hypokalemia means less concentration of potassium ions, and there are 3 chemically distinct diuretics have come or emerged that increase the sodium plus and chloride excretion without a concomitant increase in the urinary excretion rate of potassium, and therefore these agents are known as potassium sparing diuretics, because there will be increase in the elimination of sodium and chloride, but retaining the potassium. Where in other cases, until this site 4, site 1, site 2, site 3, there will also be removal of sodium, chloride as well as potassium. Therefore, in that case, there is a chance of removal of potassium. In that case, so there is a, you can say it may be the side effect of those three diuretics. It's called as hypokalemia. And these potassium sparing diuretics, they are divided into two groups. And this two groups is divided on the basis of mechanism of action. One is sodium channel inhibitors, examples triamterene and amiloride. These potassium sparing diuretics, they are divided into two groups, mainly on the basis of mechanism of action. The one class is sodium channel inhibitors, examples triamterene and amiloride. And second, aldosterone antagonist, or you can say examples under this aldosterone antagonist are spironolactone. Now just we will discuss briefly about sodium channel inhibitors. Amiloride and triamterene inhibits the sodium channel in the luminal membrane of collecting tubule and collecting duct. Amiloride and triamterene inhibit the sodium channel in the luminal membrane of collecting tubule and collecting duct. So, inhibition of this sodium channel not only inhibits the sodium reabsorption but also inhibits the secretion of potassium and hydrogen ion, and also reabsorption not only inhibits the sodium reabsorption but also inhibits the secretion of potassium and hydrogen. So that results into conversion of potassium ion and hydronium ion. So that converts the potassium plus and hydrogen plus. Here in this case, triamterene is a aminopyridine derivative. Triamterene is an aminopyridine derivative and has a structural resemblance to folic acid. Means it's almost similar to structure of folic acid. Whereas amiloride is a pyrazino-guanidine derivative. Three examples we have given here in the down. Triamterene, the first structure is for triamterene. It is resembling the structure of the folic acid. And the second example, that is amiloride. It is a pyrazino-guanidine derivative. Now, coming next, that is the aldosterone antagonist, second class under this site for diuretics. Spironolactone, it is the only available aldosterone antagonist. Only one example under this. A metabolite of spironolactone, that is candrenone, is also active. Spironolactone is also active, but its metabolite, that is candrenone is also active. You can say spironolactone and its metabolite candrenone are both active. It is a spironolactone is a steroidal drug or derivative of steroid. It is structurally related to progesterone. It is structurally related to progesterone. So mechanism of action of this aldosterone antagonist, it is going to bind to its receptor and therefore enhances the passage of sodium from the luminal fluid into tubular cells that is where there is sodium reabsorption takes place, and the passage of intracellular potassium into the luminal fluid at site 4. Possibly, I'll just try to get some videos where you can see all these mechanism actions, or I may create. Let me see. I'll try in the next class. Okay. Aldosterone, it is binding to its receptor. Aldosterone antagonist or spironolactone example is going to act by binding to its receptor, so enhances the passage of sodium ion from the luminal fluid into tubular cells. That is where sodium reabsorption is taking place, and the passage of intracellular potassium ion, or you can say K plus, into the luminal fluid at site 4. It competitively inhibits the binding of aldosterone to its receptor and abolishes its biological activity. It is a competitive inhibitor. It competitively inhibits the binding of aldosterone to its receptor and abolishes its biological effects. See this example, spironolactone. It is a steroid where its metabolite, there will be removal of SCOCS3 and forms the candrenone. It is a major active metabolite. So I'll repeat again, and in the next class we'll discuss about examples like its chemical name of the compound, synthesis of the possibly in your syllabus, and uses and SAR. Okay, just I'll repeat another 10 minutes. Side 3 diuretics, they are also called by examples thiazide or thiazide like diuretics. These agents are 1,2,4 benzothiazide, benzothiazide, 1,1 dioxide. I told you in the earlier class, benzothiazide, benzene ring fused with heterocyclic ring. Therefore, it is called as benzothiazine. So 1, 2, 4 numbers indicating 1 for thia, that is sulfur, 2 and 4th position for 2 nitrogen. Therefore, diazine. 1, 2, 4. 1 thia, 2 for diaza, and E because there is a double bond. Okay, 1,1 dioxide. There will be 2 oxygens and the sulfur. And there are also they are known as thiazides or hydrothiazides. That is why it is hydrothiazide, because lacking of double bond at position 3 and 4. Examples you can say here, chlorothiazide. By looking at the structure, there is a 6th position R, that is R is by chlorine and R1 by hydrogen. Another example, benzothiazide. Taken just selected examples. Please, if you want, you can refer textbook. There are so many examples, or you can refer the website. There are so many examples. Okay, and benzothiazide, again chlorine is added as it is written, and there will be R1. It will be by benzyl group followed by sulfur. That is CH2S CH2 phenyl ring. Benzothiazide. Hydrothiazide diuretics. We'll take 2 examples here. Again, same structural, everything is same. Only the carbon bond between 3 and 4 is here. It is saturated. Therefore, they are called by name hydrothiazide diuretics. We have taken 2 examples here: hydrochlorothiazide and hydroflumethiazide, where there is R, it is chlorine, and hydrogen is at R1. There will not be double bond. Example is hydrochlorothiazide. Another example, hydroflumethiazide. There is R trifluoromethyl and R1 is equal to hydrogen. So mechanism of action of this thiazide or hydrothiazide derivatives. This blocks the reabsorption of sodium plus and thereby reabsorption of chloride in the crystal converted tubules by inhibiting the luminal membrane bound sodium plus chloride pore transport system. Okay, this blocks the reabsorption of sodium in the crystal converted tubules by inhibiting the luminal membrane bound sodium chloride pore transport system. And like other compounds, they have some side effects like hypersensitivity reactions, hypokalemia, that is decreased level of potassium, means you can say more removal of potassium ions, slight reduction in the cardiac output. Uses, they are extremely useful in the treatment of edema, that edema associated with mild to moderate congestive heart failure. And other uses include hypertension, diabetes insipidus, etc. And just will briefly recap the structure activity. This is what we discussed just 10 minutes back. By looking at those two structures, substitutions at 2 position with small alkyl groups such as methyl doesn't prefer because there will not be any benefit to the patients. There will not be any benefit to the candidates. Therefore, because there is no change in activity, therefore no point in changing the methyl group or alkyl group at second position. Third position is very important because substitution at third position, it determines the potency of compound and also it determines the duration of action of the thiazide diuretics. Okay, third position can be made substitution. So you can play with the third position substitution. Depends on your requirement, depends on the benefit of the patients. You can go for altering substitution at third position. Loss of the carbon-carbon double bond between 3 and 4 position of the thiazide nucleus increases the potency approximately from 3 to 10 times. That may be why when you make saturation between third and fourth position, so there will be increase in the potency. Why? Students, please answer me. Why there will be potency increases? Hello. Hello. I am putting question. I am asking question. Please answer me. When you saturate
Yes, sir.
benzothiazide, it forms a hydrobenzothiazide or 3,4 position carbon-carbon double bond is saturated to CH and NH. So there will be increase in the potency. Why? No idea. What is possibility? Why? What will be the possible idea? Because compound may not undergo metabolism easily. Because of there may be compound may not be undergoing metabolism easily. Therefore, there will be increase in the potency from 3 to 10 times. Okay. So next, what is left now? One in the first position there is 2 oxygens. Second position, look at the structure here. Common structure of the site 3. Here, first position there is 2 oxygens, so we cannot go for anything. Yes, second position, yes, we can make substitution on this nitrogen, but substitution made by methyl alkyl groups, no benefit to the patients. There will not be any improvement in potency. Therefore, it is ruled out. And third position, yes, of course, it is going to determine its potency and also duration of action. Third position you can make. Now what is left now? Fourth position, fifth position, and 8th position. Okay, so direct substitution of alkyl groups on position 4, position 5 and position 8, there will not be any improvement. It decreases the diuretic activity. Okay, so you cannot go for any substitution by alkyl group, either 4th position or 5th position or 8th position of benzothiazide nucleus, because if you substitute by methyl group or alkyl group, it is going to decreases or diminishes the diuretic activity. Okay, now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 8 over. What is left now? 6th position. 6th position with activating group is preferred. Like you can say it is essential for the activity, like chlorine, bromine, or trichloromethyl, and even nitro group. If you substitute any of these atoms at 6th position, there will be, it is essential for the activity. If you are not putting or if you are not substituting these activating groups, then compound will become inactive. Suppose if you replace this chlorine by trichloro, no improvement. It will be as it is only. But any of these activating groups like chlorine, trifluoromethyl, or nitro or bromide atoms replaced with methyl, there will be decrease in the diuretic activity. Okay, it is essential, but essential use only activating groups. Instead of activating group like chloride, trifluoromethyl is replaced by alkyl or methyl or ethyl, there will not be improvement in activity. In the case, it will become opposite, that is, reduces the diuretic activity. And next left is 7th position. The sulfamyl group at 7th position is essential. You cannot touch that. You cannot alter or you cannot make any substitution on the nitrogen of sulfamyl. It is essential for the diuretic activity. Removal of this group yields compounds with little or maybe little diuretic activity, or it may be not be having no activity. Means it's going to no diuretic activity. Now coming to next another 5 minutes. Site for diuretics, that is, they are also called by potassium sparing diuretics because they are essential. Sometimes because maybe removal of more potassium may be taking place with by site 1 diuretics, site 2 diuretics, and site 3 diuretics. To overcome this problem, now they come with the site 4 diuretics. Therefore, they are called as potassium sparing diuretics because potassium is also essential for the human body or any living system. More removal of potassium, the disease comes, it is called as hypokalemia. Okay, it is called as hypokalemia. So hypokalemia may be the disease which is associated with the site 1, site 2 and site 3 diuretics. So you can overcome by giving the site 4 diuretics. And there are 3 chemically distinct diuretics have emerged that increase the sodium and chloride excretion without a concomitant increase in the urinary excretion rate of potassium. These agents are known as potassium sparing diuretics. Again, they are divided into 2 groups on the basis of mechanism. One is sodium channel inhibitors, examples triamterene and amiloride, and second is aldosterone antagonist, spironolactone. Sodium channel inhibitors and mechanism of action, just will discuss briefly, will repeat. Amiloride and triamterene inhibits the sodium channel in the luminal membrane of collecting duct, tubule and collecting duct. Inhibition of this sodium channel thus not only inhibits the sodium reabsorption but also inhibits the secretion of potassium and hydrogen. So which results in conversion to potassium and hydrogen ion. Where in this case, the triptyrin is an aminopyridine derivative and has a structural resemblance to folic acid. By looking at just you see the structure of folic acid, compare and see what is how it will be similar to folic acid. So therefore, trimethylene is a aminopyridine derivative, whereas amyloid is a pyrazine guanidine derivative. It is a pyrazine guanidine derivative. So by looking at the amyloid, just given 3 points there. Pyrazine 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is the numbering of the pyrazine nucleus under amyloid, where 6 chlorine atom is necessary, 6% chlorine atom is necessary, and 5th position it will be free amino group, not substituted. It will be just free NH2 group, and also 3rd position there will be amino. It should be free. If you make any substitution on these free amino groups, then there will be decrease in the activity. Coming next class, that is aldosterone antagonist, spironolactone. It is the only available aldosterone antagonist. Metabolite of spironolactone is canrenone. Metabolite of spironolactone is canrenone. It is also active. So you can say spironolactone and its metabolite canrenone both are active as a diuretics. So spironolactone is a steroidal derivative. It is a steroidal derivative. It is structurally related to progesterone. It is structurally related to progesterone. This is just a brief introduction about aldosterone antagonist. If they ask tomorrow in the examination, what are aldosterone antagonists? Write the mechanism of action. Then you can write this. Aldosterone antagonist examples are spironolactone. It is the only available aldosterone antagonist, and its metabolite of spironolactone is canrenone is also active, and therefore spironolactone is a steroidal derivative. It is structurally related to progesterone. This is about the aldosterone antagonist. Then if they ask what is right the mechanism of action of aldosterone antagonist, then you write that is the aldosterone is a receptor. By binding to its receptor enhances the passage of sodium from the luminal fluid into tubular cells, that is sodium reabsorption, and the passage of intracellular potassium ion into the luminal fluid at site 4. And therefore, the spironolactone competitively inhibits binding of aldosterone to its receptor and abolishes its biological effect. Aldosterone, if it binds, then there will be different activity. Therefore, what happens? Spironolactone and aldosterone both competes for binding to the receptor. Instead of aldosterone, there will be binding by spironolactone. Okay. See this example, spironolactone, how it will be undergoing metabolism and forms a canrenone. That is a major metabolite and is also active metabolite. Okay. So this is about we have discussed about what are diuretics, how they are classified, what about the SAR of all the 4 classes of diuretics. In the next class, we will start with the structure, chemical name, uses, and possible synthesis of limited compounds as per your syllabus. Okay. So just I revise 2 times for today's class. If any doubts or if any comments, please let me know.
Sir.
Tell me.
So what's the meaning of luminal fluid and luminal membrane?
Luminal fluid and luminal membrane. Come to
Yes, sir.
structure of nephron. See here. Where comes the luminal? Luminal fluid means flowing of urine in this loop of Henle, where there will be luminal fluid accumulation. Okay.
Okay, sir.
This is a glomerular structure where there will be efferent arterial. So next, proximal convoluted tubule. So luminal fluid will be flowing. That is filtered water. Luminal nothing but a filtered water. That will be collected and in the descending limb of Henle and also in the ascending limb of Henle. Right?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
So, hello.
Yes, sir.
So in the last class, I told you about some MCQ type test. So are you people ready? Hello, I'll repeat here. I told you I want to conduct the test on QSR. Are you ready? See, luminal fluid, I told you, it is a transportation and support medium for spermatozoa and unimplanted embryos, where there is absorption of uterine in the early pregnancy. Okay. Are you ready for the test, please? Hello. Hello.
Yeah.
Are you ready for the chemical test? QSAR. Hello. I told you, in the last class, we'll conduct some test for the QSAR. No idea? Not prepared, huh? Lumen? Hello. When will be ready?
Yes, sir.
You're not ready for the exam?
So MCQs, no, sir.
MCQ. If you are ready, give me time. I will cut that day only. First QSR chapter.
So we'll write it in next class, sir. Is it okay?
Next Thursday.
Yes, sir.
Are you sure? Please prepare and come. Okay.
Sure, sir. Sure.
First half an
Yes,
hour
sir.
we'll show some structures and uses, chemical name. Then next half an hour
Yes, sir.
we'll do one test. QSR. Just MCQ.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So today is any doubts besides that luminary fluid?
No, sir.
Practice. How long it will take, I don't know. And be careful. Take care of yourself. Okay.
Yes, sir. You too, sir.
See you in next class. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you,
Yes,
sir.
Thank you, sir.